So now that it's getting dark, the whole city's starting to light up. The KL Tower, Petronas Towers, and it's 7:30. I think it's like, I want to say 8 that the light show will happen out on the KL Tower. But yeah, cannot get enough of this view. It's pretty awesome. After 3 great months in Singapore, we left to come to Malaysia. Now, we were really sad to leave Singapore because we loved it so much, but so far Malaysia's been really awesome as well. We are currently in the capital city of Kuala Lumpur on a rooftop of a very tall building, and we have an amazing view. So let me show it to you right now. We have the Petronas Twin Towers right here, which were actually the tallest buildings in the world up until 2004. We have the tall KL Tower here, which puts on a cool little light show every night that we can see from our apartment window. And then we have the Maybank building right over here, as well as probably what you can tell is the best part is this epic sunset that we get to see every day go down right behind this group of mountains here. So it is super nice. We've loved being here so far. Now in this video, we are going to talk about how we traveled from Singapore to Malaysia. And because they share a land border, there are multiple ways to travel between the two countries, and we chose to travel by bus. And before going any further, I just have to say that it is probably, or I'd say definitely, right, Chris?
Yeah.
The best.
It was so good.
Yeah, the best travel experience that we've had so far. So it was so nice. So we're going to get into the details for why that is in just a minute. But first, let's talk about the options available. Now, there are several different options in terms of types of buses to take, as well as several different companies offering these routes. And we chose to go through a company called Airline, and we chose their luxury bus option. And we'll get into what luxury means in a second. But the options range from basic to luxury. And so with basic, it's just going to be a basic bus with basic seats that's going to take you from one location to the other. With the luxury option, we got for a 6-hour ride from Singapore to Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, a bus that was a double-decker where the bottom was just like a lounge area that had a bathroom on board, and then the top only had seats for 30 passengers, so it's not going to be packed to the max with a ton of people, and each passenger gets their own fully reclining leather seat, as well as a meal on the bus, and they give you things like blankets and pillows, and you get coffee and water. Every seat has its own TV. So yeah, it was really nice. And the best part is like what a great value it was. So for Chris and me both, the total came to 240 Malaysian ringgit, and that equates to about $58 US total. So only $29 a ticket, which we thought for all of that for a 6-hour ride was really great. And on top of that, the process of going through customs and immigrations was so much smoother and faster than the airport too. So I'll talk about all that in a second as well. But first, if you want to book something like this, then the process of doing that is simply just going online, finding what company you want to use. Again, the company that we chose was Airline, and they're the only one that we have this type of experience with so far. But you just we created an account with Airline and just chose our departure date and our destination and a couple of other preferences like seat choice and meal choice and stuff like that. And then you pay with your credit card at the end, and then they'll give you some instructions about where to board and what time to check in and things of that nature. So it's very much equivalent to a process of booking a plane online or booking a flight online, except for with a lot fewer steps. All right, so that's how to actually book. Now the process of doing this, so we went to Harbour Front, which is where it's like the southern tip of Singapore, and that is where Airline's takeoff point was. So we went there and boarded from there, and after about an hour into the trip, we stopped at the Singapore Immigration's office where we had to get off the bus and go get cleared to leave the country. And this process was fully automated, actually. So we went in, and there were hundreds of other people in line, and you just stand in line, and once it's your turn, you put your passport into this machine that reads it, analyzes it, makes sure that you're clear to leave. And then once it does, it gives you your passport back, and then you leave. And that literally took like maybe 5 minutes, and that's with hundreds of other people there as well. So that was really smooth. So after that, you get back on the bus, and then we went for about 15 more minutes, and then we arrived to Malaysia's Immigrations and Customs Office. And this time we had to take all of our luggage, including our checked luggage, off the bus and with us. And just a point I think I forgot to mention, with airline we were allowed 2 pieces of checked luggage, and then they weren't really concerned at all with whatever you were carrying on, so the luggage situation was pretty lax. But also on our bus we only had like 7 or 8 other passengers on board as well, so it was a really light load. But anyway, so once we got to the Malaysian Immigrations and Customs Office, we took all of our luggage off the bus. We went in, and it's kind of the same process that you go through at the airport when arriving to a new country. So you get your passport stamped, and then you put all your luggage through security. The security checkpoint did seem like a little bit more lax in the airport, like we didn't have to separate our electronics or take anything out of our luggage. We just got to put everything in within our actual bags. And that whole process was really fast too, like maybe under 10 minutes, and then we were back on the bus. So the whole border crossing process happened at about an hour into the trip. So after that, we still had 5 hours to go, and that's when we just were able to relax and watch a movie and eat our meal. And about halfway through, we stopped at a rest station, even though there was a bathroom on board, just a quick 10-minute break for anyone to get out and stretch their legs and use the restroom if they needed to, before getting back on and traveling the rest of the way. It was just like a really smooth and comfortable ride. And then we arrived here in Kuala Lumpur. So once you arrive, they dropped us off in a really central spot of the city, and we just got off, and we already had data on our phone from our Singapore SIM card. It worked here in Malaysia as well for a little while, so we booked a Grab right when we got off, and Grab is like an equivalent of Uber here in Southeast Asia. And our Grab driver came and picked us right up from our location. It took us about 15 minutes to get to the apartment that we're staying at here, and the cost for that 15-minute ride was just 8 ringgits or $2. So that was great value as well. And
but how much did we end up paying for that ride?
Oh, okay, this is embarrassing. All right, so the cost was 8 ringgits, but so when we first got dropped off, we didn't have any ringgits with us. And so we asked our Grab driver to take us to the ATM, which only gave us 50 ringgit bills. And she didn't have any change, our Grab driver. So I gave her 50 ringgits rather than 8, which she was very nice and kind to stop at the ATM. But yeah, that's what, like 6 times more than the actual ride cost. So the equivalent of $12. But you live and you learn. So.
And then what happened the first meal that we had when we ordered at the restaurant?
Oh gosh, okay. Why are you calling out everything to make us so embarrassed?
This is what happens when you start traveling for the first time.
Okay.
You make these mistakes.
Okay, yes, since Chris insists on calling us out about every embarrassing mistake that we make, I will get to that story. But first, point the camera to see this awesome sunset. It's so beautiful, you just have to see it. It's so amazing. But, okay, away from the amazing sunset and on to our next embarrassing story when we first arrived. So there was a small restaurant next to where we were staying, a mamak restaurant. So inform us, educate us on what exactly that is, because at first I thought maybe it was a Malaysian kind of outdoor casual restaurant, and then but this place serves like Malaysian, Indian, and Thai food. Anyways, so let us know in the comments what exactly a mamak is. But to get on to it, we sat down to order, and everything was really good value in terms of pricing. But the way that things were lined up, it looked like a couple of things were just rice and vegetable meals without meat, and then that like the meats, like the chickens and beef and stuff, were on a separate part of the menu. So we looked and we were like, each said, okay, we want this rice and vegetable mix and this chicken. And the guy who asked us, the server, he was like, "Are you sure each of you want one of those? Or each of you want this rice thing and this chicken thing?" And we're like, "Yeah," because we thought that we were gonna have some rice, vegetables, and chicken each. But each thing that we ordered was actually its own separate meal. So when they brought our food out, they brought out 4 meals for just the 2 of us. And so we had like 2 portions of rice, 2 portions of vegetables, 2 portions of chicken apiece. So yeah, needless to say, we had to get some of it for takeaway, but it was good and pretty funny, so we didn't make that mistake again. But anyways, so yeah, aside from those quick little embarrassing stories, that is how we came from Singapore to Malaysia. So I hope if you are going to be traveling and doing the same, that this was of some help to you. And for any of you local Singaporeans or Malaysians, if you have travel tips for traveling between the 2 countries, then let us know in the comments as well. And please like the video and subscribe to see lots more of Malaysia content coming soon. See you next time. So now that it's getting dark, the whole city's starting to light up. The KL Tower, Petronas Towers, and it's 7:30. I think it's like, I want to say 8 that the light show will happen out on the KL Tower. But yeah, cannot get enough of this view.